We don't just talk about the news, we talk to those making news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
Friday's Obama administration decision to delay construction of the Keystone Pipeline, again, may turn out to be a boost for Democrats who oppose the project and for those who support it. It allows vulnerable Democrats from energy-producing red states room to distance themselves from President Obama and oppose him. And for Democratic opponents, it motivates the base to maintain pressure against the pipeline and keep the money faucet running from the more liberal and activist wing of the Democratic Party.
Oh, but there may be much more to it than that. Thank you very much. And joining us now is our friend Rich Lowry, editor of National Review. Hello, sir.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Good, good. All right, your latest piece that I am familiar with said. Well, it talks about, we hear from Harry Reid almost daily in the left, even though Harry Reid once took money from the Koch brothers and Chuck Schumer once took money from the Koch brothers PAC, and yet they're un-American, according to Reid and Schumer. And you would think that it's only the right that has these billionaires who pour money into politics. Of course, George Soros comes to mind on the left. But talk about a man named Tom Steyer and how he may be involved in this Keystone Pipeline postponement.
Well, he's a billionaire hedge fund guy who's pledged $100 million for Democrats in the midterm elections here, $50 million of his own, and $50 million he hopes and gets in contributions in matching funds. And he is obsessed with the Keystone Pipeline. He's run ads against it that have been extremely false, but has run ads against it and is really the head of this movement against the pipeline, and he is prevailing. And since there's really no rational reason to oppose this pipeline, it's been studied over and over again by the Obama administration. Every time has gotten a clean bill of health. The latest study from the State Department said it would have no net effect on global warming. Somehow it's continually getting delayed, and it very likely has much to do with Steyer and his pocketbook and with the environmental base of the Democratic Party.
And Steyer's interest in this, is it personal? Is there profit to be gained by not having Keystone?
No, I think it's entirely conviction. He's a climate alarmist who believes we're all doomed because of global warming and that somehow this pipeline would contribute to it, when the fact is you don't build this pipeline, there'll be some other pipeline, and the Canadians, the ultimate origin of the oil that would be produced here, are going to find some other way to get it to market. And they'll build a pipeline or have a pipeline to the West Coast, or they'll ship it by rail. So as I mentioned, even the State Department has said there's no net effect on global warming from building this thing. And you build it and you maintain very warm relations with our ally to the north, Canada, who very much wants this thing. You create 40,000 construction jobs pretty much immediately. You send a signal to the Russians that we're very serious about developing our energy resources in North America. So it's really a no-brainer. So I don't know anyone who thinks this decision about anything other than politics.
Now, when it comes to Steyer, is it incumbent upon the Republicans, do you think, to kind of fight back? I mean, I don't know how many people pay attention to this Koch brother thing anyway, but for the leader of the U.S. Senate to take to the floor of the Senate time after time, habitually, almost obsessively, and call Americans un-American because they're successful and politically on the other side of that person on the floor of the Senate, should the Republicans, come up with their own list of multi-million or billion-dollar magnets who support Democrats?
Yeah, I think you fight fire with fire, and it appears here that Tom Steyer has gotten more bang for his buck than the Kochs have on any public policy matter, as the Wall Street Journal editorial put it yesterday. So yeah, but you have to realize, though, there are just limits. All this is a little bit inside baseball. Reid can complain about the Kochs. I think that's just really playing to his own base. It's not meant to sway any independent swing voters who are really going to be important in November.
Let's talk about something else that's going going on in this country right now, and it's very, very frightening. And we saw it with the CEO of Mozilla, and now, you know, we're seeing it with Condi Rice. Condi Rice, actually, before the whole CEO with Mozilla controversy, was scheduled to be a commencement speaker at Rutgers University, and 200 professors signed on, and they were public. I had one of them on the show. They didn't want her speaking there because she lied, because of the war. I said, this is the most successful, arguably the most successful African-American woman in the history of the United States of America, certainly politically, as far as the rank goes. And you don't want her speaking at the graduation because you disagree with her. But this is where we are in this country right now. And now, of course, the most recent position she got on the board of a company that provides an internet cloud, you know, when they announced that she was on the board, the left started up again. They wanted to boycott that company. Yeah,
it's really an extraordinary, not just closed-mindedness, but intolerance for the views or the very presence of someone you disagree with. You know, those people who are protesting her ascension to the board of this company, Dropbox. Her views on Iraq or what she said in the run-up to the Iraq War have nothing to do with the policies of that company or what she's there to help them do, you know, to expand their business. But it's her very, just the fact of her being Condi Rice that they object to. And that's just a deeply illiberal attitude, but one that's rampant on college campuses and has been for a long time, and unfortunately is spreading into the mainstream of American life.
Yeah, and you point out in your piece on National Review the stupid hounding of Condi Rice, and you point out there was a University of Minnesota invited her as well, correct?
Yeah, now this was even more absurd because she was giving a speech there, or presumably you can ask questions. You know, so if you think she lied about the weapons of mass destruction that were allegedly in Iraq, you can ask her about it, you know? And it was part of a civil rights series in honor of Hubert Humphrey, and you had some of these idiot professors saying she was unsuited to address such a forum because she's not known for her civil rights advocacy. You know, this is, as you point out, this is the first African-American Secretary of State in this country, grew up in the Jim Crow South, knew one of the little girls killed in the Birmingham church bombing, whose parents constantly told her not to pay attention to the hate and just do everything she could to excel and be as good as she could and be better than the haters. And they say she has nothing to do with civil rights and is not fit to address such a forum. It's really disgusting.
And these are professors at a university, as were the ones at Rutgers. It is disgusting, and the left, you know, and it ties right into what I want to ask you about certainly today also, because I'd be remiss if I didn't get your opinion on it, but also it speaks to the lack of interest of real diversity on campus, Rich. You know, when they talk about the Supreme Court decision today, which we'll get to here, you know, being a blow to diversity on campus because the Supreme Court ruled today that the Michigan affirmative action ban, as it relates to admissions to colleges, is constitutional, as was voted on by the public there in Michigan. And now they're crying on the left that how are we going to have diversity? They don't want diversity. They want diversity of skin color. They want bean counting. But when it comes to a diversity of opinion, you know, the college professors, as evidenced here, aren't interested in hearing from the other side. And you know, there are free speech zones and all this cockamamie stuff on college campuses where if you're conservative, you better not say anything.
Yeah, they want uniformity of thought. And this case was really amazing if you think about it, because you had people arguing it's unconstitutional for Michigan to adopt race-blind policies, you know, which the Constitution says we should have. And the idea that somehow that's unconstitutional is to, as Scalia said in his opinion, is just to turn it upside down and to twist it into something it completely isn't. And it's all about a political agenda.
And of course, it was a 6-2 decision. Elena Kagan recused herself. 6-2. It was not 5-4 by any means. And also, you know, Sonia Sotomayor, her dissent and her opinion in that dissent was, I think, 54 pages, which was as much as 4 of the people who wrote in favor of the decision put together. And of course, you know, I hearken back to Sonia Sotomayor just recently talking about how optimistic she is about the influence of minorities in this country, which is fine. But also when don't forget, she had given speeches way prior to her nomination, which was scrutinized by some in the media, like me and you, I would assume, at the time, where she said that by nature, I think was the quote, a Latina woman would be a better Supreme Court justice than a white male. I mean, my God.
Yeah, I mean, what this country should be about is fixing the schools, to give everyone the best opportunity they can to make the most of themselves. It should be about encouraging people to have two-parent families that are, all things being equal, the best environment for raising kids. And then you let the chips fall where they may. And you don't want, racial discrimination to just make the numbers look good. You want to fix the core problems.
That would be the common sense approach. Yes, one would think. Hey, Rich, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Steve. Take care now.
Take care. Rich Lowry, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And, it's a very important decision. It went the right way. I think there's room here. I'm not a lawyer, but from what I've been hearing and the people we've been talking to today, room for this to be used beyond certainly Michigan, beyond certainly using race or not using race, banning race in the use for admissions to college, maybe going beyond that. And most importantly, the people spoke, and the people have been upheld. Give Me Five is next on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.